Clean that old statue, ordered the Empress, but the human maid's touch woke its eyes. Part 1. The awakening touch. Maya Chen pressed her palm against the cold metal wall of Crystal Station Omega as another tremor shook the massive facility. Through the transparent aluminum windows, the dying red star, Kepler 442, pulsed weakly in the void, its light barely reaching the research station that orbited in its final embrace. She had been working on this alien outpost for 3 years now, ever since the hegemony ships had recruited her from the ruins of New Tokyo Colony. The corridor stretched endlessly before her, lined with doors leading to laboratories where the crystalline species conducted their experiments. Maya's worn maintenance uniform bore the marks of countless repairs, oil stains, and the distinctive blue handprints that marked her as human property of the station. Her dark hair was pulled back in a practical ponytail, and her brown eyes held the quiet determination that had kept her alive through humanity's darkest hour. Worker Maya 7739. The translator collar around her neck crackled to life as Overseer Crix approached. The crystalline alien towered nearly 9 feet tall, his transparent blue body refracting the station's artificial light into rainbow patterns. His 6 arms moved with mechanical precision as he consulted the datapad in his primary hands. You have new assignment. Sector 12 Theta requires immediate attention. Maya bowed her head respectfully, though internally she bristled at being reduced to a number. Yes, Overseer Crix. What kind of maintenance work? Crix's faceted eyes glowed brighter with what Maya had learned was amusement among his species. Not maintenance, human. Cleaning duty. The Research Council requires Sector 12 Theta prepared for tomorrow's inspection. There is old artifact there that collects dust. Make it presentable. The way he said old artifact carried a dismissive tone that made Maya curious. In her 3 years on the station, she had learned that the crystalline species viewed anything they couldn't immediately understand or use as worthless decoration. Their scientific minds were brilliant but narrow, focused only on quantifiable data and profitable discoveries. I understand, Overseer. I'll gather my supplies and head there immediately. Crix waved 2 of his secondary arms in dismissal. See that you do. Dr. Talonries inspects tomorrow with the High Council. Everything must be perfect. His crystalline form chimed softly as he walked away, the sound of his footsteps like wind chimes in a gentle breeze. Maya made her way to the supply closet, gathering cleaning materials and a portable work light. Sector 12 Theta was in the oldest part of the station, built around artifacts salvaged from dead civilizations across the galaxy. Most of the items there were considered archaeological curiosities rather than active research subjects. The journey through the station's winding corridors took 20 minutes. As she walked, Maya passed other human workers going about their duties. There were perhaps 50 humans total on the station, all survivors from various colony worlds that had fallen to disease, war, or simple bad luck. They had been scattered across the galaxy like seeds on the wind, valued by alien species for their adaptability and attention to detail. She nodded to Tom Bradley, a former engineer from Europa Station, as he emerged from a maintenance shaft. His weathered face brightened when he saw her. Maya, heading to the forgotten sectors again. Cleaning duty this time. Sector 12 Theta. Apparently there's some old statue that needs polishing for tomorrow's inspection. Tom's expression grew thoughtful. 12 Theta. I did some electrical work there last year. Strange place. Some of the equipment down there is older than the station itself. Be careful. Maya appreciated the concern in his voice. The humans on Crystal Station Omega looked out for each other, forming a tight community within their larger captivity. I always am, Tom. Thanks. Sector 12 Theta's entrance required Maya's security badge to open, though she suspected it was more to keep inventory than to restrict access. The heavy doors slid apart with a grinding sound that suggested infrequent use. Emergency lighting flickered on as she entered, casting long shadows across a vast chamber filled with artifacts from across the galaxy. The room was enormous, easily the size of several basketball courts. Display cases lined the walls, containing everything from primitive tools to incomprehensible technological devices. Most were labeled with basic descriptions in the crystalline script, though many tags simply read, "Unknown origin or function unclear." Maya's portable light swept across the chamber as she searched for the statue Crix had mentioned. She passed cases containing what looked like fossilized instruments, crystallized art pieces, and several items that seemed to defy physics by floating within their containers. The air felt different here, charged with an energy that made her skin tingle slightly. Near the center of the room, she found it. The statue stood 12 feet tall on a raised platform, carved from what appeared to be black stone shot through with veins of silver metal. It depicted a humanoid figure in flowing robes, arms outstretched as if offering something to the viewer. The face was noble and stern, with closed eyes that gave it an expression of peaceful sleep. Despite its obvious age, there was something timeless about its design, as if it had been created yesterday or 1,000,000 years ago. Maya set down her supplies and walked slowly around the statue. The craftsmanship was extraordinary, each fold of the robes carved with perfect precision. The silver veins throughout the black stone formed patterns that seemed almost like circuitry, though she couldn't be sure if that was intentional or just her imagination. A thick layer of dust covered the entire surface, along with what looked like centuries of accumulated grime. The information plaque at its base was written in several languages, though the only one she could read was standard Galactic, origin unknown. Estimated age, 15,000 plus years. Material composition, unidentified stone, metal composite. Function, presumed decorative. Maya began with the base, using a soft brush to remove the worst of the accumulated dust. As she worked, she found herself drawn into the rhythm of the task. There was something deeply satisfying about restoration work, about taking something neglected and bringing it back to its original beauty. It reminded her of her father, who had been a museum curator on Earth before the Hegemony Wars. As she climbed the portable ladder to reach the statue's upper portions, Maya noticed something odd. The silver veins in the stone seemed to pulse faintly when she touched them, like a heartbeat frozen in time. She paused in her cleaning to press her palm flat against the statue's chest, feeling an unexpected warmth beneath the ancient surface. "That's strange," she murmured to herself. "Stone shouldn't retain heat like this." She continued working, carefully cleaning the intricate folds of the robes. The silver patterns became more prominent as she removed the grime, revealing an incredibly complex design that definitely resembled circuitry. Whoever had created this statue had been master artists and possibly master engineers as well. When she reached the statue's face, Maya worked with extra care. The features were so lifelike that she almost expected it to breathe. As she gently cleaned around the closed eyes with a soft cloth, her bare finger accidentally brushed against one of the stone eyelids. The moment her skin made contact, electricity shot through her hand. Not painful, but intensely alive, as if the statue had recognized her touch. The silver veins throughout the entire sculpture suddenly blazed with brilliant light, turning the chamber into a constellation of silver stars. Maya stumbled backward on the ladder, barely catching herself as the statue began to move. Ancient mechanisms deep within the stone groaned to life as the massive head slowly turned. The eyes opened, revealing orbs of swirling silver light that seemed to contain entire galaxies within their depths. When those cosmic eyes focused on Maya, she felt her breath catch in her throat. The voice that emerged from the statue was like distant thunder, speaking in perfect standard Galactic. Finally, it said, "A child of Earth has found me." Maya's hands shook as she climbed down from the ladder. You can speak. What are you?" The statue's expression shifted to what might have been a smile. "I am Sentinel Zaraprime, created by the architect race to wait and watch. For 15,000 years, I have slumbered in this place, waiting for a worthy species to awaken me." Worthy species. Maya's mind raced as she tried to process what was happening. "I'm just a maintenance worker. I was ordered to clean you for an inspection tomorrow." Sentinel Zaraprimes. Laughter was like the sound of wind through ancient canyons. "Child of Earth, you see yourself as small, but your species carries something precious that others have lost. Tell me, in your 3 years on this station, how many broken things have you repaired? How many neglected corners have you brought back to life?" Maya thought about it. Beyond her official duties, she had indeed fixed countless small problems around the station. Broken lights that the crystalline overseers couldn't be bothered to replace. Air recyclers that needed adjustment. Even small comfort improvements for the human quarters that nobody had asked for. I just fix things. It's what humans do, asterisk. Precisely, the Sentinel's eyes blazed brighter. The crystalline species that controls this station sees only utility and profit. They collect artifacts like trophies, studying them for technological advantage, but never truly understanding their purpose. They passed by me countless times. Seeing only an old statue, the Sentinel raised one massive stone hand toward Maya. "But you touched me with intent to restore, not to exploit. You cleaned away the neglect of centuries, not because you hoped to gain something, but because you saw beauty that deserved to be preserved. The architects who created me spread guardians, like myself, throughout the galaxy. We were tasked with identifying species worthy of our legacy. The others have tested with riddles, or combat, or displays of power. But I was designed to respond to something simpler and more profound." Maya felt tears forming in her eyes as understanding dawned. Compassion, yes. The ability to care for something without expecting reward. To see potential where others see worthlessness. To restore rather than merely consume. The Sentinel's voice grew warmer. "Humanity has endured slavery, displacement, and countless hardships since Earth fell. Yet you maintain your capacity for kindness. You build communities among strangers. You fix things that others would abandon, as if responding to their conversation." Maya heard footsteps approaching through the corridor. Multiple sets, moving with purpose. "The inspection," she whispered. "They're coming early." Sentinel Zaraprime's expression grew serious. "Then let us see how your species compares to those who claim dominion over you." The chamber. Doors burst open as Dr. the station's head scientist, entered with a full retinue of crystalline officials. The reptilian researcher's scaled face showed shock as he saw the awakened Sentinel, silver light pulsing throughout the chamber. "Impossible," Dr. Talonrees hissed, his forked tongue tasting the air. The artifact shows no signs of active technology. Our scans detected nothing. Overseer Crix moved forward cautiously, his 6 arms spread in a defensive posture. Human Maya, 7739. Explain what has occurred here. Maya looked at the gathered aliens, then at Sentinel Zera Prime. For the first time in 3 years, she felt something she had almost forgotten: pride in being human. I cleaned the statue as ordered, Overseer. But it appears your scans missed something important. She gestured toward the Sentinel. This is Sentinel Zera Prime, a guardian created by the architect race. And it has something to tell you about humanity's place in this galaxy. Dr. Talonrees's eyes gleamed with scientific hunger. A functional architect construct. The research possibilities are limitless. We must begin immediate testing. The Sentinel's voice boomed through the chamber, causing several of the officials to step back. I am not a research subject, Dr. Talonrees. I am a judge. And I have been evaluating all species on this station for the past several minutes, as if to demonstrate its power. Every piece of ancient technology in the chamber suddenly activated. Artifacts that had been dormant for millennia began to glow, hum, and display holographic interfaces. The very walls of the station trembled as systems throughout. The facility responded to the Sentinel's presence. The evaluation is complete, Sentinel Zera Prime announced. The crystalline species shows great intelligence, but lacks wisdom. The Reptilian Confederacy demonstrates ambition, but lacks compassion. However, humanity... Double quotes, the Sentinel's gaze returned to Maya. Humanity shows the rarest quality of all, the ability to nurture what others abandon. Maya felt the weight of history settling on her shoulders. Whatever happened next would determine not just her fate, but the destiny of every human in the galaxy. The age of human servitude was about to end. One way or another. Asterisk, the test of Werther. Silence in the chamber stretched for several heartbeats as the assembled aliens processed Sentinel Zera Prime's words. Dr. Talonrees was the first to recover, his scientific mind immediately shifting into acquisition mode. Fascinating, the reptilian researcher said, circling the awakened statue with predatory grace. An architect judge, construct. The council will be most interested in your capabilities. We'll need to run comprehensive scans, behavioral tests, perhaps even structural analysis. You misunderstand your position. Dr. Talonrees, the Sentinel's voice carried a note of amusement that sent chills through the gathered officials. I am not your discovery to catalogue. You are my subjects to evaluate. Before anyone could respond, the chamber's walls began to shift. Ancient mechanisms hidden within the station's structure groaned to life, and Maya watched in amazement as the floor itself reconfigured. Sections rose and fell, creating a complex maze of platforms and barriers. Holographic displays materialized in the air, showing symbols that pulsed with meaning just beyond comprehension. What's happening? Overseer Crix demanded, his crystalline form refracting the new light. Sources into chaotic rainbows, Sentinel Zera Prime's expression remained serene. The test of worth. Every species that awakens an architect guardian must prove their value to the galaxy. This station will serve as your proving ground. More footsteps echoed from the corridors, as other station personnel were drawn by the commotion. Maya saw Jake Morrison, a fellow human who worked in the hydroponics bay, peered through the doorway with wide eyes. Behind him came other humans, along with members of various alien species employed on the station. The test will evaluate 3 fundamental qualities, the Sentinel continued. Intelligence, which all advanced species possess. Adaptability, which determines survival. And most importantly, wisdom, the ability to choose cooperation over domination. Dr. Talonrees hissed in frustration. We don't have time for games. The High Council expects a full report on station operations tomorrow. This distraction could jeopardize years of research. Your research will continue, Doctor. But first, you must prove worthy of the knowledge you seek. The Sentinel raised both hands, and suddenly the chamber was filled with translucent barriers and floating platforms. 3 distinct paths became visible, each leading to different parts of the transformed space. 3 challenges, Zaraprime announced. Each species may attempt them as they see fit. The first tests your ability to overcome obstacles through pure intellect. The second evaluates your adaptability when faced with the unknown. The third reveals your true nature when forced to choose between personal gain and collective benefit. Maya felt a gentle touch on her shoulder and turned to see Jake Morrison beside her. His weathered face showed concern, but also a spark of hope she hadn't seen in years. Maya, what's happening here? Tom said you were just cleaning some old statue. Before she could answer, Dr. Talonrees stepped forward aggressively. Stand back, humans. This is clearly an advanced AI construct responding to specific technological triggers. As the senior researcher on this station, I'll handle all interaction protocols. The reptilian scientist approached the first challenge path, where a series of complex mathematical equations appeared in holographic form. His scaled fingers danced over a control interface that materialized at his touch, inputting calculations at impressive speed. Asterisk child's play, he muttered. Multi-dimensional calculus with quantum uncertainty variables. Primitive by modern standards. Maya watched him work, admiring his obvious intelligence even as she noticed something troubling. Dr. Talonrees solved each equation efficiently, but he was working alone. When other members of his research team offered suggestions, he dismissed them with barely concealed contempt. Meanwhile, Overseer Crix had moved to the second challenge. This path required navigating a series of platforms that shifted and changed according to no apparent pattern. The crystalline official's 6 arms gave him a significant advantage in mobility, allowing him to reach handholds and supports that would be impossible for other species. But as Maya observed more carefully, she realized the challenge wasn't just about individual capability. There were mechanisms that required multiple beings to activate simultaneously, bridges that needed to be lowered from both sides, and weight-sensitive triggers that demanded cooperation. Crix, however, was attempting to solve everything through individual effort and superior physical capability. When the platforms refused to align properly, he grew frustrated, his crystalline form pulsing with agitated energy. Jake, Maya whispered, look at the third path. Asterisk, the final challenge appeared deceptively simple. A single bridge led across a chasm to a platform where 3 containers sat glowing. Each container bore symbols indicating different rewards: advanced technology, vast wealth, and something that appeared to represent knowledge or wisdom. But Maya could see the trap. The bridge could only support the weight of 1 person at a time, and there were more people than containers. It was designed to create competition, to force individuals to choose between personal gain and group benefit. They're all approaching this wrong, she realized aloud. Sentinel Zaraprime's cosmic eyes turned toward her. Explain your observation. Maya Chen. Maya felt the weight of attention from everyone in the chamber. Dr. Talonrees paused in his calculations, and Overseer Crix stopped his platform, jumping to listen. Even the other humans gathered closer. The challenges aren't meant to be solved by individual species competing against each other, Maya said, her voice growing stronger as her conviction built. They're meant to test how we work together. Dr. Talonrees has the mathematical skills for the first challenge, but he's ignoring the collaborative elements. Crix has the physical advantages for the second challenge, but he's not utilizing the team dynamics built into the obstacles. She gestured toward the third path. And that final challenge isn't about choosing the best reward. It's about recognizing that the real test is whether we can find a way for everyone to benefit. Jake nodded slowly. So what do you suggest? Maya looked around the chamber at the gathered beings. Humans, crystallines, reptilians, and several other species represented among the station's crew. Each had their own strengths and perspectives. We work together. All of us. Dr. Talonrees snorted derisively. Humans suggesting strategy to their superiors. Absurd. Your species couldn't even defend your own homeworld. Maybe that's exactly why you should listen to us, Jake said quietly. We've learned things that species who've never lost everything don't understand. Maya stepped forward, addressing the sentinel directly. May I attempt to coordinate a collaborative approach? Zara Prime's expression was unreadable. The choice is yours to make. Child of Earth, but understand that failure will have consequences for all species. Represented here, Maya felt the familiar weight of responsibility that had defined human existence for generations. But this time, it came with an opportunity rather than just survival. Dr. Talonrees, your mathematical expertise is essential for the first challenge. But some of those equations include variables that relate to behavioral psychology and social dynamics. The humans have been studying those patterns out of necessity for survival. Would you be willing to incorporate our observations? The reptilian scientist's eyes narrowed, but after a moment he nodded grudgingly. Proceed. Maya turned to Overseer Crix. The second challenge requires multiple beings to activate certain mechanisms simultaneously. Your physical advantages are crucial, but you'll need coordination with other species to complete it fully. Crix's crystalline form shimmered with what Maya had learned indicated deep thought among his kind. Continue. And the third challenge, Maya addressed the entire gathered group, is about recognizing that the greatest reward isn't what we can take for ourselves, but what we can accomplish together over the next 2 hours. Maya found herself in a role she had never imagined, coordinator and strategist for an interspecies collaboration. Dr. Talonrees's mathematical brilliance, combined with human insights into social behavior, cracked the first challenge's deeper meaning. The equations weren't just mathematical, they were modeling the dynamics of galactic civilization itself. The second challenge required Crix's physical capabilities, but also Jake's engineering knowledge, and the unique sensory abilities of the gastropod species that worked in the station's environmental systems. Each being contributed something essential, and Maya found herself translating between different ways of thinking and communicating. The third challenge proved to be the most revealing. Instead of competing for the 3 containers, the group worked together to discover that the containers themselves could be recombined into something greater. The technology, wealth, and wisdom were not separate rewards but components of a larger gift. When all 3 challenges were complete, Sentinel Zero Prime stood silent for a long moment. The chamber's walls slowly returned to their original configuration, and the holographic displays faded. Remarkable, the ancient guardian finally spoke. In 15,000 years, I have observed hundreds of species attempt these challenges. Most fail entirely. Those who succeed typically do so through domination one species, forcing others to serve their strategy. The Sentinel's gaze swept across the assembled beings. But this group has demonstrated something unprecedented. Not just cooperation, but synthesis. Each species contributing their strengths while learning from others' perspectives. Dr. Talon stepped forward impatiently. So we've passed your test. Now what? What do we gain from this exercise? You gain understanding, Dr. Talonrees, and more than that, you gain access to the architect legacy, the chamber filled with new light as panels Maya hadn't noticed before slid open throughout the walls. Behind them lay technology that seemed impossibly advanced, control systems that responded to thought, and data storage devices that contained the accumulated knowledge of a civilization that had spanned the galaxy. The architect race chose to transcend physical existence rather than rule over others, Zera Prime explained. But we left behind tools for those who would prove worthy of them, not through conquest or individual brilliance, but through the wisdom to lift each other up. Maya felt tears in her eyes as she understood what was happening. You're saying humanity, ... Double quotes, humanity has proven its worth not through dominance, but through its unique ability to see potential in others, to build bridges where others see only barriers, to find strength in cooperation rather than competition. The Sentinel turned to address the entire group. The knowledge and technology here will benefit all species represented today, but the humans will serve as guardians and guides, helping to ensure these gifts are used wisely. Overseer Crix's crystalline form chimed with what sounded like acceptance. The humans have demonstrated capabilities we had not recognized. Perhaps it is time to re-evaluate their status on this station. Dr. Talonrees, ever the pragmatist, was already examining the newly revealed technology with hungry eyes. But he paused to address Maya directly. Your species has proven more valuable than we understood. I believe we can arrange for significant improvements in your living conditions and responsibilities. Maya looked around at her fellow humans, Jake, Tom, and the others who had spent years in quiet servitude. She saw hope in their eyes, but also the same determination that had carried humanity through its darkest hours. Thank you, she said to the Sentinel. But this isn't just about us. If we've learned anything, it's that everyone benefits when we work together. Sentinel Zera Prime's laughter filled the chamber one final time, spoken like a true inheritor of the architect legacy. Use these gifts wisely, children of Earth. The galaxy has much to learn from your example, as the station's crew began to explore their new reality. Maya felt a profound shift in the fabric of their small corner of the universe. Humanity had not conquered or demanded recognition. They had earned it through the quiet virtues that had always defined them: compassion, cooperation, and the belief that everyone deserved a chance to contribute something valuable. The age of human servitude was ending, replaced by an era where Earth's children would help guide the galaxy toward a wiser, more collaborative future. And it had all begun with a simple act of restoration, cleaning away the dust to reveal the beauty that had been waiting underneath all along. Asterisk.